Greetings from Tokyo, my friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you're doing very well today. I received a question from a viewer, and I thought it was a very good question, so I thought I'd just share it with you and see what kind of responses this could engender. But the question was this. As some of you may know, I am not very good with watching recent release films, and I rarely go to the theater, and that's due to just practical considerations, namely that I don't usually have the time to go to the movie theater as much as I would like. When I was much younger, of course, when I was a student and I wasn't necessarily working, I was able to go to the movie theater with a certain degree of frequency, which is really nice because I remember those times being times where I was making a lot of wonderful discoveries at a particularly young age, and so this was a very important thing. So for those of you who are young and sort of just starting out in life, as it were, I really encourage you to visit the movie theaters as much as you can, because there is just so much that one can absorb and fall in love with, and just really feel alive about when it comes to cinema and one's interactions with cinema in the movie theater. It's really a one-of-a-kind experience. Of course, there's a great boom in Blu-ray and DVDs, and don't get me wrong, I consider myself a collector of those. I have a few of them back here on the shelves, but I would, of course, concede the point any day of the week that the movie theater experience is far and away the best way to experience a film. So I would encourage those of you out there who are young, and not just students, but people of all ages, of course. You know this more than I do, but it's really very important to go to the cinema as much as we can. So that being said, I don't go as much as I would like, but I don't not go. So there are times when I do go. So the question that I received from a viewer was, what are some examples, Daisuke, of films that you have seen in the theaters recently? A fair question, very fair question. So some examples that films that I've seen in the theaters over the past, let's say, few years are, for example, the last film I think I saw in the theater here in Japan was in January of this year, 2019. And that was Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria. And oh boy, what a delightful film that was to see in the theater. It was a truly magnificent, macabre experience. I love that film very much. And I am very lucky and fortunate to have that on Blu-ray now. And I've seen it many times, and it's stuck with me. Very much so. And if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to see it. It's a unique film experience, and if you can spot a certain character who wears a certain piece of eyewear, you get brownie points, because I think this exact pair of glasses, exact frames, appears in that film Suspiria. So anyway, that's a tale for another video. But so Suspiria was one film that I saw in the theaters recently. Other films that I've seen in the theaters recently, fairly recently, I should say, are films that I've seen with my daughter. So the film, I think the English title is Coco. The Japanese title is a different title, but the English title is Coco, and that's the Pixar film, I think. And other films that I've seen with her in the past are films like Zootopia. We also saw the live-action version of Beauty and the Beast some years back. Do you remember that, with Emma Watson? It's Emma Watson, right? And oh gosh, oh yes, the Star Wars films. Although I haven't seen Solo yet, I did see what's that film called? The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and also Rogue One. So I saw Rogue One, and I really enjoyed those films. In particular, Rogue One I enjoyed very much, but I don't have that on Blu-ray. But so I've seen those, and also I saw, it's a while back, but do you remember the film The Hateful Eight with Kurt Russell, and written and directed by Quentin Tarantino? So that was a really fun time. It wasn't the Roadshow version, so there wasn't any intermission or anything like that. I'm not sure. I don't think the Roadshow version was ever shown in Japan, but it was the non-Roadshow version, I suppose, the standard version, whatever it was. So there was no intermission, so it was just one long film. But it still was very effective, quite a wonderful, just a fun time. And I really like those. It's a bit of a locked room mystery type of film, although it's not quite that way. But that's what it seems like and feels like. I really love that feel. I love the locked room murder mystery element to it. I thought it was really great. And there's one particular moment, I don't want to spoil it, but there's one particular moment of slow motion dialogue that I think is just, it's genius. And so Quentin Tarantino, I really admire that film. I don't know if it's a film that gets a lot of love, but compared to other Tarantino films, but I think I found that film to be very captivating. Very, very captivating, and quite unexpected in many ways. I don't think it's a perfect film. There are some flaws that I would acknowledge that exist in that film, but really, I'm not sure. The perfect film is really something that is truly, truly extraordinary. And so the fact that The Hateful Eight isn't a perfect film doesn't necessarily detract from its greatness, if you know what I mean. But The Hateful Eight was some time back, so I don't know if you would call it a recent film release, but those are some of those films that I've seen in the theater. So unfortunately, there are others that I never got a chance to see in the theaters. So like the Blade Runner sequel, I never saw in the theater, or Dunkirk, I never saw in the theater. Interstellar, I never saw in the theater. I did see, what was it, The Dark Knight Rises. I did see that in the theater here. But again, that's many years back now. So I don't know if you'd call that a recent film. But I haven't seen any of the superhero movies since then. So I'm trying to change that. And trying to watch more of the superhero movies, but so the last superhero movie I saw in the theater was The Dark Knight Rises, which I thought was I've talked about it a little bit. I don't think it's the strongest in the Nolan film trilogy, but I think it's a good film. So, but that's generally my cinema going experience. And of course, Shoplifters. Yes, I saw the film Shoplifters, the Koreeda film, in the theaters last year here in Tokyo, and I thought that was a marvelous experience. And again, I can't wait to be able to talk about that and other Koreeda films. But that's the last film that I saw. It's a shame because Tokyo does have some great theaters and some great movie theater experiences, and there are a lot of art houses and a lot of showings of old classic films, and so I really should get on that. I know a friend of mine who lives here in Tokyo. He went to recent screenings of Orson Welles films like Citizen Kane and all that. So there are those great opportunities in Tokyo that I unfortunately am not able to take advantage of as much as I would like. So that's one of the things that I'm struggling with the most. But again, c'est la vie, as they say. So just it's very difficult because of my of certain time commitments that I have elsewhere. So, but I try to make up for it with watching things on sort of home media formats. But again, it's not a substitute for watching it in the theater. I completely acknowledge that. So I'll try to fix that. But anyway, that's the sense of the kinds of films that I've seen in the movie theater recently. So I apologize if my answer is a little bit disappointing, because as I fully acknowledge, my recent film watching is terrible, absolutely terrible, subpar, not even mediocre at best. It's worse than mediocre. It's it's mediocre blah. It's really quite terrible. So, and I'm the first to acknowledge that. So I try to fix it, but again, it's very difficult. So, but with my children getting a little bit older now, perhaps that might provide more opportunity to broaden the horizons, as it were, and to branch out slowly but surely into other aspects of cinema that I could share with my children. So that's the next sort of phase, as it were, I think, of my theater going experience. I think is the films that I can watch with my kids. So and there's nothing wrong with that. I think I'm very happy for that, because I think it is helping me to discover films that I don't think I would have discovered on my own, if you know what I mean. So I don't think I would have gone to see Beauty and the Beast, the live action version, unless I went with my daughter, and I'm glad I did, because I thought it was a really fun time. It wasn't the best film I'd seen, but it was certainly a pleasant experience, and I really enjoyed it. And I have the Blu-ray actually somewhere. So and other things like, oh yeah, we saw Finding Dory, right? Finding Dory in the theater, and I loved that. I thought that was great. Hank the Octopus, I thought was fantastic. The song Unforgettable at the over the credits, I thought that was a great rendition of the song Unforgettable. Really lovely. I didn't cry, but I felt like it almost brought a tear to my eye, if you know what I mean. But I didn't cry. But Finding Dory. Yeah. So again, the movie theater experience, I think, is something that the next stage of my own film journey development, as it were, is going to the movie theater with my kids. And so that will probably be the next step in my own journey. And I'm looking forward to that very much. So we'll see where that leads, and hopefully it leads into very interesting developments for me and also for my kids. And I'm looking forward to that. As I say, there are some really great kind of kids films that are worth taking a look at, really. But anyway, that's just a general gist of my poor movie theater habits. But anyway, I guess I should throw it back to you. What are some recent films that you've seen in the movie theater? And what were some of the more enjoyable experiences? What were some of the maybe less enjoyable experiences? But what were the recent experiences that you had in the movie theater? And what were the films that you saw? I'd love to hear about it. And again, if anything, it enables me to live vicariously through your own experiences. And so that always makes me very happy indeed. Okay, my friends, thank you for listening. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you're doing well. Please be happy and healthy and safe. That is the most important thing. And I hope you are happy, and that your friends and family and loved ones are the same as well. And please take care of them and each other and yourself. And with that firmly established, then go out and watch a lot of great movies, and come back and let me know if you saw any good ones. I'd love to hear about them. Okay, my friends, thank you so much. Thank you so much, as always. And please, be well, and talk to you again very soon. Cheers.